Hello and welcome back to the exciting world of advanced system security and digital forensics. To be more precise, let me call it as system security, ethical hacking, and digital forensics. So far, we have seen how to create a copy of a website and store it on our local machine with the help of a tool called as httrack. Next, we saw how to find out bugs or drawbacks in a particular piece of code, statically analyzing the piece of code using a tool called as flaw finder. Similarly, we also saw how to find out the various vulnerabilities of a web application or a web server with the help of a tool called as Nikto. Let's move on towards the next experiment, which is experiment number 4, that is exploring web application vulnerabilities using a tool called as Wapiti. So now, like we have seen so far, Wapiti is again a tool which is open source and is available for Windows as well as for Linux distributables. In Windows, it's in the form of a Python distributable, whereas in Kali or Kali Linux, it is already available bundled along with the operating system. So today in our experiment, we'll see how we can perform application vulnerability findings with the help of Wapiti in Windows. So very first thing which you would like to know is what is Wapiti? I'm simply reading out Wapiti is a tool which performs black box scans. Now what do you mean by black box scan? Basically, black box scan is nothing but you are going to scan a particular machine or a particular system without having any prior knowledge about the internals or the internal framework of the website or web application, or for simplicity, any application. It's similar to black box testing, we can say. So what WebPT does is it's not having any data or any information about the source. It's simply trying out each and every possible combination of an attack to find out which particular attack is a vulnerability of that particular application. So basically, it is quite similar to Nikto, but the difference lies in the fact that Nikto does all the analysis passively, whereas Wapiti is a tool which will first of all find out the vulnerability, exploit that vulnerability, and will give you a broader picture of that vulnerability. Means how we can exploit such a vulnerability in the near future. So again, as a piece of advice, I would again tell you that don't try this particular tool on a already existing website or any live website. Otherwise, you may land up in trouble. And I am once again explaining, I'm once again reiterating myself. I am not the one to be held responsible. It's you and only you who are doing it on your sole responsibility. So let's see what Wapiti is. Basically, Wapiti can be downloaded from the link which I will be showing you in the description box. First of all, what you can do is, if you are performing this in Windows, again you would be requiring Anaconda prompt as usual for carrying out the Python experiments. The very first thing which you can do is you need to install the Anaconda. You need to install the Wapiti tool. Okay, so what you need to do is, you might be well aware with this, pip install. Latest version of Wapiti is Wapiti 3. So I'm going to install pip install Wapiti 3. As I've already installed it on my system, so I would be shown with few statements that the requirement is already satisfied and blah blah blah. So let's skip that. What you can do is, the next step is you need to run the Wapiti tool. Obviously, the tool name is Wapiti, so it will be Wapiti space enter. It will begin up the Wapiti shell. Now you can see, you can check the various options available in Wapiti by simply typing list. Now see, these are the available modules in Wapiti. Wapiti can carry out blind SQL attacks, it can carry out Nikto based attacks, it can carry out a shell based attack, shell scripting sort of attacks, it can carry out SQL injection, it can carry out cross-site scripting and whatnot. So these are the modules available in Wapiti. So let's again try out any attack. Our favorite website is this particular website, which I have already mentioned in the previous lectures also. So I would be trying out the attacks on this particular website. So the very first step is, you can see, if you check over here, minus u basically stands for an URL. Okay, so my next step would be Wapiti space -u space the URL, which I've already copied over here. Just copy it and paste it. See, if I omit this slash, it will give me an error. Let's check. Invalid base URL was specified. Please give a complete URL with protocol scheme and slash after the domain name. So please make sure that you type in the complete URL along with the protocol, which is HTTP in this case. So put in that slash at the end, and this should complete my statement. As I had already tried this particular attack n number of times, so Wapiti is basically skipping. Wapiti is not actually performing the attack over and over again, because I have already performed this attack n number of times. In your case, it will take some 2 to 3 minutes to carry out the actual attack, because it is because we have not mentioned any particular module to be executed. So it is trying out each and every module one by one and trying to find out the vulnerabilities. And if there are any vulnerability, it will try to find out the exploits for that vulnerability.